Welcome to a very live edition of the Mexican Soccer Show with FoodMexSource.com. It's been a great day here at Levi Stadium. For the many of you guys that have been watching all throughout this morning, we had one live show where we showed you what the players were doing during a special practice of El Tri here at Levi Stadium. And we cut out a little bit and we went to the press conference, some interviews. It's been a great day, and now we have another live show for you to give you the preview, Mexico versus Chile, that's coming up tomorrow. An interesting, very special game. It's the very first one in the cycle. 4 years to go before we're in Russia. I'd like to introduce to my right here Tom Marshall, Mexico World Cup. Starting at right mid, which we had a great day so far. Tom, how are you? How are you feeling?
All right, so yeah, it's a late afternoon. It was a bit hot for me out there. Not that I didn't much exercise, but I was just waiting around for the players, and I think tomorrow's game against Chile can be very exciting indeed.
Good, yeah, especially since all the big stars are coming. It's a FIFA date. Everyone's excited. Alexis Sanchez is coming. We'll be talking a little bit about Chile. But just to let you know, for you guys, if it looks a little different than this normal studio that we're in our little laptops, we are at Levi Stadium. Somehow we managed to sneak up to the club level, and we could get kicked out if someone sees us kind of talking up here. But I'd like to introduce, obviously, Cesar, who has been holding the laptop like this pretty much all day long.
My arms are actually a little tired, not gonna lie.
Everyone very sophisticated with large cameras. Everyone with these great microphones because, you know, ESPN, Fox, Univision, there's a lot of different. But here we were with the Mexican Soccer Show with a camera. But I think we were the only ones that had a live feed of everything that was happening. So, Cesar, how's your day going? How's everything?
Doing well. Like I said, my arms kind of hurt. I have to carry on the laptop all day. But, yeah, I'm feeling a little sick, too, so I'm under the weather. But the fact that Mexico's going to have a game tomorrow is kind of giving me some newfound energy. It's kind of keeping me psyched for the rest of the day. I'm probably just going to crash, just like, while I'm like on this high of just like there's going to be a game tomorrow, I'm going to be attending it, and then as soon as I get home, I'm just going to flat out just die, just like fall asleep for like 12 hours.
Because you still have to go all the way to Denver. These guys both get to go and relive this great following the team up in Denver starting on Monday. I think, Tom, when are you flying out to Denver?
Sunday afternoon.
Sunday, and then
Monday.
Monday.
But it's okay. I'm gonna go catch a show on Sunday. It's punk band I'm gonna see. So.
Oh, punk band.
Yeah.
God, this guy just is awesome. Punk bands, you know, beer. But so let's go ahead. Let's dive into it. Let's talk a little bit about what can we give you, what can we report here live at the stadium. So just kind of talk about our experience today and giving you guys an inside look on obviously what goes on behind the scenes of, you know, the day before the Mexico game. So we all got in, we got our press passes, we went in and waited. Usually what happens is the team trains for 2 hours and then they let the media go in. But really quickly before we came to the stadium, I got a chance to go to the hotel, got a chance to meet some of the players, talk to Oribe Peralta and also Giovanni Dos Santos, just nonchalant walking in the hotel. We were able to just kind of say hi, very quick conversation, nothing too formal, but I asked him a little bit about obviously how he's doing in America, and he said he loves it there. It's been a dream of his now that he's playing and obviously doing well with him. And then obviously Gio Dos Santos just walking in the hotel, not letting a lot of the fans, obviously for obvious reasons, come in and they'll storm it out, but there was a lot of fans there, was able to go in and kind of just talk to Gio, took a couple of shots, selfies out there with them. They're always very gracious in order, especially to the fans and to anyone, you can have a conversation with them. So it was fun staying there. Then they came to the practice. They waited for 2 hours. We finally got in. There's probably, maybe 50 media personnel.
Yeah, I'd say about 50. Yeah, 50 is a good number.
That are waiting from, obviously, from all over the world, Chile coverage. They're all here. So let's talk a little bit about what you saw in practice, what you guys saw. Maybe not too much. I think 15. I think it extended to about 30 minutes. We were out there waiting for the mixed zone. But Cesar, what did you take out when you were watching them practice obviously in the field, waiting before the mixed zone?
I mean, it kind of looked like a little lighthearted, didn't it? Didn't look like everyone kind of looked like they were in a good mood to me. And even at the end of the practice, I don't know who it was. It looked like one of the someone took a bucket of ice, was like won over and like dumped this giant thing. Maybe it's like I don't know, new ice bucket challenge apparently. But
when you're new to a game, I guess.
but yeah, that could have been it too. But yeah, it seemed like everyone was kind of positive mood. The weather is great right now. Hopefully this stays like this till tomorrow. There's some minor complaints about the grass, saying it's like a little hard. And if you look at it, I mean, at least from what I'm seeing, it looks decent. I mean, it looks patchy in some spots, but it looks to be decent quality. But yeah, it was a lighthearted mood. And, it's definitely
almost like the extension of the World Cup.
Yeah.
And I asked Osvaldo Alanis about that. I said, like, your first experience, for the Santos Laguna centre back with the squad. How's the atmosphere? It's like, yeah, it's really good. Just like as we and he would have watched it on TV and got the reports from the squad in Brazil. Like that's how he said. That's how he finds the atmosphere. So this looks like a lot of fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I kind of wish I was out there.
It's like Guardado. We'll get to it later, but Andres Guardado's the new captain and stuff, and I know he's the biggest joker of the lot. I mean, I don't know what you think. Like, he's running around laughing,
he's screaming, making all these girl noises when we were seeing that. What did you guys see practice-wise, though? Did you see any? I mean, there's not a lot that we can tell, but obviously, I mean, were you able to do some? I don't know, to see starting lineups there with different jerseys. Excuse somebody walking by. We are in the middle of the stadium. So it doesn't matter. But yeah, going back to it, we were able to see the 11 that were lined up. I think they had the pennies on, right?
Yeah, actually, I think that's what I thought at first. But then I saw a couple of the other guys who switched onto the other team, starting 11. But it did look like at least the team without the pennies did look for the most part it was the starting 11 they'll be for this week. I don't know if we really saw enough to really justify giving them a little review. They were practicing a lot of, but I guess that's something we see a lot. They were practicing a lot of corner kicks at the very end of the practice,
which is something that we've seen for Phoenix. Usually, the last 15 minutes, they all kind of go towards the field and they're shooting corner kicks more of on a practice. Yeah. Obviously, Piojo and the team doesn't want to show a lot. The press is here. Yeah. It's always been like that, even though it's the very first game. But at the same time, giving us that last 15 minutes to see how it is. And normally, the last 15 minutes are that playful. Let's give the attitude. They take a picture, which they take a good 10, 15 minutes to set up. Yeah. We're waiting for them. Yeah. But I think it's just a time for them to be fun. And it's also giving us, the media, that they're having fun out there. It's not as stressful. I remember
definitely. I think there's a show for the media as well.
Yeah, I think
to make it very clear that
it's fun atmosphere, whatever.
No problem. Because traditionally with the Mexican national team, that's been a problem, especially in the Chepo era. And I think it's something that the Herrera and some of the older players are definitely aware of, that they need to keep it sweet with the media as well. Mexican media can be fierce.
And they're not fools. They know that everything that they do, and for example, with the whole ice. We're talking about that. Any little thing that they say or do that they know that we're gonna take apart. So I'm sure, they kind of wanted to be a little bit more lighthearted at the end, a little bit more fun.
He's going to go through the starting 11.
Yep.
I don't think it's. We were talking about just going on, but I've not seen it 100% official.
It's not 100%
everybody's reporting
official.
it, and from training what we saw, this is what we think pretty much sure, because Herrera's not want to hide these things.
Yeah, and I think when we were talking to, obviously in the press conference when we went up to him, there's multiple times saying, Miguel Herrera's going to start, so is Alanis is going to start. So he never said, no, I don't have any, I don't want to talk about. So we can go ahead and talk about the 11 that we saw, that we thought about it. Up to, obviously, the goalkeeper position, Memo Ochoa. We'll be talking a little bit about how he's getting finally minutes. We'll go with that, but pretty much sure that it's Memo Ochoa. And then, obviously, the formation, the 5-3-2 with the 5. So on the right side from, let's say, starts Aguilar, right? Aguilar, I'm sorry, now I'm kind of...
Miguel Herrera.
And
then Massa. I mean, I guess Massa and Herrera, I assume Massa's going to be, yeah.
I would have thought Massa, Miguel Herrera, Alanis,
I honestly don't think it could be either way around. Ponce on the left, obviously. And Alanis, the big thing about him is that he's left-footed. Mexico with Hector Moreno out, absolutely desperate for a player who can, just slot in there, because Carlos Salcido, that versatile defender that so many years Mexico relied on in different positions, is now out. So I think Alanis definitely on the left. In the middle, usually it's more of a ball playing defender, isn't it? And I don't see Massa as that player. I don't. I think that's going to be
Miguel Herrera. That's what I was thinking. Miguel Herrera.
But that's a big responsibility.
It's a huge responsibility.
He's only his third call-up.
Third call-up.
He's taking Rafa's place. Taking Rafa Marquez's
well, there isn't anybody else. I mean, like I said, this is the person that usually has more ball control, going up, sending passes, controlling. Not only that, controlling out that 5-3-2 formation. Miguel Herrera. That's a big role for him.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is in Pachuca they don't play with the. They play with the two centre backs, and it's like I think this is a thing, and I didn't get a chance to ask Miguel Herrera in the manager in the press conference, but yeah, I think it's the thing. You look at the top of the Liga MX now, and it's like with America reverting to a back four, Monterrey back four, Santos Laguna back four, Atlas back four, and it's like national team back five. And it's like I don't know.
Isn't it funny? We were talking about a year ago how no one used the back five. 5-3-2. No one uses that anymore, and now we're seeing all these teams. I mean, with Luis Van Gaal doing that in Manchester United, Chile, everyone's using the 5-3-2, which everyone thought that Piojo was going to be crazy. You don't use that anymore. Now we're seeing that it's slowly how the game evolves. So we talked about obviously the defense, which is probably the most that what we're going to see, especially facing a Chile who was bringing the stars and having those two rookies out there. It's going to be quite the test.
I think that's the biggest issue with this game for Mexico. I think we've got 8 of the 11 starters, the regular starters in the World Cup for those first 3 games. I think the defence is the massive test. Alexis Sanchez, the Chile, Eduardo Vargas, if he starts. It's a good striking team. They're very good. Break well, they keep possession well. They're just a very, very mature team. They know what they're doing, and I think it's going to be an absolutely massive test for Alanis and Herrera. Alanis said to me today as well that one of the things he wants to do is play in Europe. It's like, and I know people who've known him when he used to play for Stuttgart Tecla, and they even a few years ago they were telling me about him and saying this kid's really good. He's absolutely focused, very professional, and he wants to go to Europe.
Especially one of the first ones we've seen, it felt like he was doing this for a long time. We've seen it with younger players, interviewing them. However, I could even see maybe a little Cubo Torres being a little bit nervous. I don't know when you were talking to him, just a little bit. It's like you could still. These guys are 21 years old. They're kids. Alanis, very mature, very. I mean, he can just spit out questions. I mean, it was almost like he's been in the national team with press conference for a long time. So you see that maturity
tomorrow.
Yeah,
game is like there's no way around it. I mean, he played for Tecos, now he's at Santos. He's not been a starter that long with Santos. Now tomorrow, all of a sudden, national team, look at the stadium, 68,000 people.
And it's not just important for him either. It's important for the national team as well. Because after him, who's the next option after him? Venegas, who just got that red card recently. So it's also
Reynoso. Come on, bring him back.
I think it's a very important. Everyone's gonna have their fingers crossed. I'm sure Piojo's gonna have his fingers crossed. Hopefully, this guy works well with his system.
I think he will. I think he's a good player. I think he's a good player. I don't know if he's yet national team level. I've seen him play twice recently in Guadalajara against Chivas and against Atlas. He's a good player. I mean, this is the thing when you get a good player from the Liga MX taking the national team, you're always going to have a doubt unless they're absolutely unbelievable. And I think that he's going to have a few opportunities now. 6 games left for Mexico this year, and I think Alanis is a player who's going to be in all 3 of the squads, and he's going to take this chance now. And if he can, then he'll be in the team from here to Russia.
Well, it's a huge test that he's playing. Piojo has him starting against Chile. I mean, not that we don't have anybody else, but it's great to see those youngsters. I mean, Mier could have gone on there, who has the extensive. I mean, he's been with the national team, and he has shown up, which is a great player too. But he wasn't given the starting lineup in the position. Let's switch over to the mid. Obviously, not that much in question. Probably everyone's expected the 3 superstars that I think we have. Miguel Herrera, Hector Herrera, Zorrillo Herrera doing great things at Porto. We have Andrés Guardado, obviously now the captain, and El Gallito Vázquez, who had an amazing World Cup. What do you guys think about the mid, the 3 there?
It's exciting. Can't wait to see them all play again. It was really fun stuff seeing that over the summer, and especially with the current form that Guardado has. Guardado seems to have found a second, I might even be the 3rd win at this point. It's nice to see him suddenly inspired, and it might have been Piojo over the summer that inspired him a little bit. So we're going to see what he does tomorrow. But yeah, he's just been fantastic recently, and I'm just excited. Hector Herrera as well has been playing very well for Porto, and I just kind of excited to see those two working well together again.
I think in the World Cup, the midfield was probably, well, I don't know what you two think, but the more positive part of Mexico. Yeah. And it was always extremely positive. You had a player like Hector Herrera, who you expect big things from, and he's fulfilling them. You know, you want to see something from Hector Herrera, he does it. You know, Andres Guardado, we know how good he is, and he showed it. You know what I mean? Gallito Vasquez, nobody expected anything. That's the opposite. Everyone was like.
I raised my hand and said that I knew Gallito Vasquez from Leon was going to be the guy to go for.
Gallito just stepped it up during the World Cup. That was
unbelievable.
That was huge during the World Cup.
I don't know why you guys are surprised. The guy's been doing it for a while. Libertadores, he had amazing Libertadores. He's been doing it. I think it was just because a lot of people said something about his size. Going against that kind of competition, he only there, but I think he did a great job. I know Tom and I were talking about earlier how this guy did not go to Europe. It's one of the questions if we got the chance to talk to him.
Yeah, he ran past.
He ran past. One thing, we're waiting for the players, and actually you saw on the stream, all of a sudden, all these players just ran like if we weren't there. I mean, it was definitely told, do not talk to the media, you guys, except for these 4 guys, which are the new guys, Hugo Torres, and obviously Massa, which was very surprising. With Massa, you could get Massa talk, but not Gio, not.
It streams like that. I love hate with the media.
But he was there, smiling, joking around. Massa, a totally different side of Massa than you normally see, talking to everybody. That's the mid. In my opinion, it's the best we have. But also, I think if we play a really good team, those 3 players can make mistakes, like really crucial mistakes with bad passes off. They're great, but I think they also need to evolve together. We've seen Herrera with Porto kind of have this amazing, all of a sudden he just makes a bad pass that goes over for a goal. They have, and also Guardado too. Guardado can have a great game and all of a sudden just one bad move, especially at the mid. I've seen that also with Gallito Vasquez, so I've seen their great moves, but it can also be the worst we have because they're so unpredictable sometimes with the way they're flashing. Not that they're doing great moves, but all 3 of them, all of a sudden, can do something with the ball.
I'm not too worried because I feel like even if they were to slip up a little bit, I feel like Aquino and Fabio, even though Aquino's playing a little slightly out of position, I feel like they're both decent substitutions. So it's not something that I really.
You guys think Aquino will play in that mid, or will he come into the wings?
I think he's going to play for advance. Yeah. But I think it's the same thing like that we said. As soon as Herrera got named coach, I mean, if you're an out-and-out winger. You're going to struggle, and Miguel Herrera has said that, he can play attacking midfield, and
which is almost what killed us against Holland.
It's not the same. It isn't the same. It can't be. I mean, you got to play like Aquino. He's definitely a winger, and he plays in needs a back line of 4 behind him, to play that position.
And I guess we haven't seen that. I mean, I don't know if you guys have gotten a chance to see the Rayo Vallecano games. That guy he was loving every second like him, just riding that line right there, just going up and down the field. He seemed to be thriving off that.
Yeah, I remember the Copa America. That's what he does. That's where he got seen, and that's where he got to the Olympics. Javier Aquino just thrives on the right in what he did. Kind of Pablo Barrera, Venado Medina 3.0, but making the actual attempts. Let's switch over to the forwards, the 2 that we see starting. Obviously, no surprise there. Giovanni Dos Santos and Oribe Peralta thrown maybe in there. I saw a tweet or so. Maybe Orozco would get the nod over Peralta, which I would think that probably wasn't going to happen. But those 2, which have that partnership, which were ideal, starting 11 from the first 3 games of the World Cup, obviously giving us the results. What do you guys think? Obviously, with the partnership back, it's the guys that obviously the Olympics gave us the oro. And with the World Cup and what we had scoring in there, and now obviously starting this 4 cycle with 2 starters that have been doing it for a while, which is good. We haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, I think Herrera's he knows very well, but he said it before the World Cup. They likes Oribe and Giovanni because of the Olympics. I think for this particular game it goes beyond that, and I think that not just the forwards but most of the team. I think this is picked his strongest team. I mean, there's no doubt about it. This is Mexico's strongest team. Yeah, there's a couple of European players, Raúl Jiménez, Chicharito, Héctor Moreno are injured, but this is his strongest team, and I think the reason for it is that Chile are an extremely good side. Yes. And he knows there's no way you can slap against a team like Chile. And a Chile team that hosted the 2015 Copa America, they've got big opportunity, and they'll feel very confident they can win it.
Yeah, and Chile team was decent during the World Cup too.
course they can win it. Not to throw a prediction out there, but I think it's going to be a tough game tomorrow, especially with the two rookies.
Very, very difficult. And I wouldn't necessarily put Mexico favorite.
No,
I'm not.
Unless saying a clear favorite, obviously as a fan you would want it to win. But to say tomorrow I'm going to put my, all my money on Mexico, it's really hard. But at the same time, we have the players to do it, and the surprise is there.
I think a tie would be a good result, to be honest. I think a tie that'd be a positive result.
It's going to be a great game. I think both teams are intense. Both like to press. They both like to. They're both not very happy when they have to sit back and defend. They're just not comfortable. Like Chile, their defensive players keep the ball and take it forward. Don't give in, because Chile's defense isn't the best either. I mean, and that's why their system works for them.
You can kind of see it like the Croatia game first half, where it's back and forth, a lot of possession between one of them, and as soon as someone makes a mistake, that's where it'll be 3-1 because the other team will fully attack.
So like the Croatia game, you were playing that.
We're gonna win. I was at that game. It was amazing. All right, there's your start 11 for the question. Obviously, to the right of the YouTube page, we have a way for you guys to kind of talk to us. We have it right here. I have the little tiny laptop. So we are taking questions coming in. Mexican Reformist already asked what is the team lineup. We already talked a little bit about that. But a great question from Bert M. I think it's Bert Miranda, who always shouts us, pretty much talks to us. I know that, Bert, you also have a little mini podcast that you do in your car. We watch that too. And I know that.
I'll listen to it.
No. So Bert, shout out to you. You're always there to kind of go out with us and talk to us about Mexican soccer. Great question. I hope this is you, but it says, will you get the players like Gonzalez, Dam, etc. have a shot of being called up to the next friendlies in October? That's actually a question that Tom Marshall went ahead in the press conference, if you're paying attention or listening, that he actually asked Piojo Herrera, and he named out all the players. So Tom, answer that, how to, the question that you asked, obviously Piojo, and then the response.
No, I mean, I asked him that. I said, it seems like, from my point of view, basically, like, that there's a generation now in the Liga MX of young players, 22 and under, who are doing extremely well. And talking about Jürgen Damm, Irving Lozano, Pizarro, Eric Gutierrez, the other Pachuca guy is Villalpando, Ponchito Gonzalez of Atlas, Abella at Santos Laguna, Güemes at Tijuana. Like, it seems to me that there's a really positive group of players that are playing week in, week out, and performing, and still very young. So I asked Miguel Herrera, like, what's the plan with these players? Do you think they're good enough, and you're going to be calling up in the future? Don't think he liked the question too much.
I think he was like, well, this is who I picked.
This is not, he was like,
But then he answered it.
No, he said.
And then he went one by one, saying, well, he looked good, but he's hurt. He didn't look that great, but not because of whatever. So
so basic answer was he's watching them. He knows about them.
And he can give you. Hugo Sanchez, I remember, he was saying, I don't need to go to games. I just got to watch them on my TVs, and I have different TVs. But he actually gave you straight out answers. This is why, maybe next time he's hurt or something like that.
But the thing I got from it is that he's not going to be scared of calling up those players because of their age. Which that's what I wanted to get out of him, if you know what I mean. Because if you look at some of the players they called up, like Venegas, Atlas, don't get me wrong, I watch Atlas most home games. He's a decent player. He started the season well. He played for Miguel Herrera at Lance. He's a good player. But he's 34 in Russia. He's like, what's the rationale behind?
Well, you have to have. I think we have this conversation all the time. Should we keep calling players that we're not going to play in Russia? I think the answer is yes. We have a more important game that's coming up, which is the Copa Oro. We have to take those steps. If we're not calling the right players that are doing well right now, I mean, let's just go ahead and knock everybody off that's over 30 years old so they don't make it 2018. But we got a game to win next year. We need players to keep playing, because if we don't make the Copa Oro, there goes the Copa Confederaciones, we have the Copa America, there goes Piojo's job. Let's just say it. If Piojo doesn't...
That was, Herrera's press conference wasn't the most exciting he's ever given. But if you take one thing, it was like, someone asked him, are you going to, will you be there in Russia 2018? Because if you look at historically, if Miguel Herrera makes Russia 2018 as Mexico manager, he'll be the first manager ever
in the history
to go from one World Cup to the next without a break.
Without a break. And From what I've
seen,
he
needs results.
He does.
From what
I think
he
knows that as well.
I think that's why I think that's why. I mean, maybe he could have made some more audacious moves, and maybe he could have brought those younger players. But I think he knows that if he was to bring in, say, he brought in all those young guys, and he somehow lost those 2 games, not only would people be like questioning his, his tactics, but they'd probably like question his spot as head coach. Yeah. And that's unfortunately that's the fickleness of the game right now.
Especially in Mexico.
So I think I don't blame him. I'm a little bummed out that we didn't get to see some of those players, but I understand the fact that he knows he needs to win these games. And although they're friendlies, they're important. They're the friendlies immediately after the World Cup, and people are going to judge him. We're going to judge him like immediately.
The first friendly after the last World Cup, if I'm not mistaken, was Spain.
Oh, that's
the Bicentenario.
I forgot about that actually.
It was a 1-1 goal. It's a great result in the Estadio Azteca versus obviously the world champion Spain. So this is the very first one against another great team, Chile, who both didn't lose. Oh, and never mind. I think Spain did lose against Denmark in the very first round. But what you guys were talking about, I think it's going to be really hard for Piojo to make it in 4 years. I would love it. It would be amazing if he does. But it's going to be extremely hard because he has these steps he has to win. And I think that's why he's bringing a team that's competitive. Yeah. Otherwise, let's just work around and bring everybody who can come in, all the youngsters, because we got something to work for 4 years. Every game counts, especially if we're trying to make to the head of the 8 spots at the top of the FIFA in order for us to be ranked, in order for us to get our own group, in order for us to advance. As you saw, it's very, very important. Reading articles about the points in FIFA, every game does count. Some news out there, obviously, the sub-23 players maybe going to Copa America that can mess us up. Yeah. That's out there. It's what happened with last Copa America. But great questions. We'll keep reading of this. Actually, as one that we kind of talked about from Luis de Anda, saying, is Oribe realistically making Russia 2018?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it would be...
We've got a lot of talent up there. I think it might even be hard to predict who's going to be.
Yeah,
who's going to be up there.
It's going to be hard, but you've got Chicharito. Jimenez is going to be there. Chicharito there. Alon Pulido, gets back on the rails. Kubo, I think you've got 4 strikers there. Giovanni's still going to be there.
Yeah, don't forget about Gio. Yeah. Who knows what he'll be able to do.
Bella, maybe. You've got.
It'll be really hard if Peralta to keep the same rhythm in scoring. Not to say that he won't go, maybe, but to start. Who knows? I mean, you never know what they could bring someone like that. But obviously, at least in the next year or so, Oribe Peralta is still lethal. Still has that making goals any way you can. So if he needs to be in Copa Oro in order for us to get that win here in the United States to get the Confederation half ticket, obviously he's going to call him. Great question.
What about Ochoa starting? Well, he's starting and he's not. He's not played these.
Can you imagine if he didn't start tomorrow?
Oh, dude, if he didn't start, that'd be awful.
I'll tell you the other thing if he makes a mistake.
Yeah, I think we were talking about
confidence drops a little bit.
It does. I think that it brings up a good point.
He's got the most amount of pressure. I think more than any other player, he's got a huge amount of pressure because he knows that Malaga. I mean, he knows that Malaga are going to be watching this game. He knows if he plays the next game, they're going to be watching that too.
And let's analyze that right there. Just he has a lot of pressure, even though he was the #1 player for Mexico, I think, in the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean,
right? Wasn't he the best player for Mexico?
He could arguably be the best. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, internationally known.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but you got most headlines definitely.
That's what I'm saying. Memo Ochoa, with what he did and being one of the best keepers in the World Cup. I mean, we're putting him alongside of obviously Navas and also the German Neuer. Having up there, and now he's bringing in the first game just because he got benched at Malaga. And now he's got the most pressure. It just shows you how fast everything turns around from having one of the best World Cups any keeper could ask for to now being pressured that if he makes a mistake coming out of the ball, everyone will crucify him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, on paper now, you look at that move to Malaga and you're like, oh, it was a good move. And I know a lot of Mexico fans are trying to defend the move and just be like, oh, so we'll give him a couple of months, he'll be in there. I honestly don't see it in such positive light.
No, I mean, either.
Not. It's like, you look.
I know they're calling us Spazos out there, but tell the truth.
But you look at that Kameni, the Cameroon goalkeeper from Malaga. You look at his stats. He's like, he's the starter for Espanyol for like 4 years. Yeah, he's 30 years old or something, and he knows the La Liga. I mean, and he's been picked for the first 3 games, and this, before the transfer, like, oh, they're putting him out in the shop window. Yeah. It's like. No, they're not. It's like he's picked this guy over Ochoa. What does that say about Ochoa?
Yeah.
I mean, why didn't he go to a bigger club? Everyone's going, oh, his agent's not good enough. when you go to the maybe Ochoa just isn't as good as most people think.
I've always said there's something about Ochoa in the practice. There's something that goes on that the coach doesn't give him that confidence to keep up there, because we saw it in 2006, 2010. We've seen it many times with the other coaches. Piojo was probably the one, but he was still having Corona there. It's like there's something going on, and I don't know if it's his attitude. I don't know if it's too shy. I think you have the extreme of Osvaldo Sanchez and Memo Ochoa, two different extremes, someone yelling and the other one, I don't know. That's just my opinion, that we were all for sure that he's going to be to Malaga, arguing, why did you go to a team? Well, because he's going to get minutes instead of him being on the bench. Look at Navas at Real Madrid, and now he doesn't get it. So it's
unfortunate, though, isn't it? Like, when we thought, like, when we went to Malaga at first, we were like, okay, Goodwin's going to get minutes. You know, it's not the best team in Spain, but at the same time, it's better than Ajaccio. You know, and it's a slight move up in the ladder. He's going to be, and we thought for sure though, he's going to be the star of the team. He's going to be there like every game, and and maybe my guess though, to be honest, I think I'm still a little optimistic about it. I'm optimistic whatever, but I think give him a few weeks. I think he'll be the starting goalkeeper. I think he'll stand out a little bit more. He's got an immense amount of talent, and I think right now he's probably at the peak of his career, and I think he's going to sneak into that starting lineup.
Well, on the positive side, tomorrow he has a great game.
Yeah.
You know, Alexis Sanchez one-on-one, Memo stops it. You know, it'll be out there. Of course, Memo did this.
I think he'll have plenty of work to do. Yeah. I think he definitely will have work to do.
Yeah. Especially with the defense. Well, obviously, the starting 11, we talked a little bit about that. When we went into the mix zone, just kind of when we talked to the players, talking to the only players that talked to us, which was Alanis, Miguel Herrera, the player, and Moises Munoz and Cubo Torres. I got a chance, and Massa. I got a chance to talk to all of them. Just kind of what, you know, the ambience on, you know, the how's everyone doing, especially in the last 3 nights. They went out to dinner, they're going shopping. It's also a time for them to relax a little bit away from, you know, their team. You are a national team level, but it feels like everyone's just, you know, let's have fun.
I mean, you know, the Liga MX, the ones that play there, I mean, play for the big teams, you know, it's not that easy to replace, because they go out all the time and they're known. And I think they come into the US, and obviously you've got a massive amount of Mexico fans here, but I think they can go shopping.
Yeah, they can.
And go a little bit more unnoticed in Mexico.
Or like I've even seen like someone as big as Javier Aquino, like something you'll see him on like Instagram. He's like walking around Vegas taking pictures. Like he probably wouldn't be able to do that like back at home. But like the fact that he's able to
the Vegas of Mexico.
The Vegas of Mexico.
Oaxaca.
You think
Vegas of Mexico. Tijuana. Yeah, and I think that's why they do come out here talking to the players. Just a little bit about the atmosphere. They said they love it. The stadium. I think Massa was the one that
was like,
it was like, you know,
these
Americans just do it big, right?
They just want a stadium, they just shoot one up, and there it is. There it is. Yeah, but it's sold out tomorrow. 68,000. A big game for Moises Munoz as well, who grew up in the Bay Area of California.
There you go. Yeah, right.
Bay Area. Where do you even know where you go? As you can see, we have sound now here, and I think we're testing the sound, so I don't know how much. So, I think they're testing the sound. I don't know if we're actually supposed to be.
And now let's ask Michael Jackson on his perspective on the national team.
Anything can happen on the live.
Should we just wrap it up here?
Mexican Soccer Show. If it doesn't go out in about 1 minute, I think we're going to have to wrap it up.
Ronaldinho? Still waiting, aren't we?
Ronaldinho is still fabulous. See, we have some good music. Alright, well, I think that pretty much does it. I'm glad you guys kind of just followed us throughout the day. Let's see what we can talk about. Please keep asking us questions on Twitter. We'll keep answering them, but you can still hear us. It's going to be kind of hard to keep going. But Cesar, all right, what is your prediction?
2-2. I'm guessing 2-2.
I'm going to say 3-2 Chile.
3-2 Chile by this guy. I'm going to go, just because, I'm going to go 1-0 Mexico winning. Just because I want to be a different tie, lose, and a win. Positive. Guys, this has been another edition of the Mexican Soccer Show. I hope that you can still hear us. We'll try to do our best. Please, we're going to try to do this in the Denver if these guys are willing to do that.
Definitely try to give it a go.
Give it a go. and we can play around with that. But it looks like it's a little last, probably time for us to go. Again, thank you so much for watching, and make sure you share this. Have a great day. We'll go ahead and pan over so you can see where we're at, Tom. All right. And all right. You want to stop the broadcast?